Lloyd lit a cigarette and smiled and waved the smoke out of her face.
Wild thunder, heavy rain, still alive.
This is a real small town full of real fine folks.
And I'm solid as a rock and sinking sand, trying like the devil to be a good man.
All right, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the OkiePatriot76 Radio podcast. Hope everybody out there is doing well. And welcome back to the show. Today is November the 30th, 2022, episode 2. And there's quite a gap between episode 1 and episode 2, and I apologize for that. Life happens, shit gets in the way, and I was sick. So I didn't feel like it would be a good idea to do a podcast when I couldn't talk. So I was kind of hoarse. But yeah, man, hope everybody out there is doing well. I hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. And I want to jump on here and talk about the recent news of the Red Dirt artist that passed away this weekend. And I want to give you my thoughts on that. And I also want to get into some new music and some movies that I've been watching. And I've been meaning to do this for several weeks now. And I think now is the time that, I usually don't do a podcast when I'm so, if I'm not pissed off about something. And this is the time I feel like it's a good time to do a podcast right now. But if you're not familiar with this channel, if you're just now subscribing, I appreciate all the support on this channel. I really do. All the new subscribers, and I appreciate all the artists out there who are reaching out and commenting on the video that I post. And if you don't know, I just post their song and then they find out about it, and they're either pissed or they're either happy, and most of the time they're happy, but sometimes I've had to take down a couple of videos. If you're an artist out there and you want to submit your music, you can do that. You can just follow the instructions on the about page. Basically, you can text the number in the description, or you can email the email on there. I had an artist yesterday. He has a song coming out in a couple weeks that just sent me an MP3 file. So you can do that if you want to, or just send me a link to a Spotify or like a pre-save link or something. Or if you want me to listen to it, so I can post it on the channel, just tell me this guy yesterday. He's a pretty interesting guy. He's a chiropractor. He does chiropractic work. And then he does music on the weekends. So he just sent me a EPK or whatever it is thing, and he sent me the file, and I thought, hey, this is pretty cool. He has a song. He covered the Zach Bryan song, Something in the Orange. If you go to his website, I probably should shout out his website. I'll shout out his website on the video that I post. But no, you can do that. You can text the number. But yeah, man, I appreciate everybody out there for checking out the channel. I really do appreciate it. And if you go to the website down below, OkiePatriot76Radio.com, there's these Spotify playlist links, and that's where you'll get the majority of what I do. Because I feel like I don't want to overdo it, posting every song on every album. I can't post every song that comes out every Friday. But I try my best to post as much as I can. But if you want the full version, you can go to the Spotify playlist. So there's New Music Friday playlist, and then there's a Christmas playlist, Red Dirt Christmas, and then there is a Oklahoma artist, Best of 2022. And I kind of, everybody talks about Texas, everybody talks about, Appalachia or Nashville, but I don't, there's not a lot of people out there representing Oklahoma, the Oklahoma Red Dirt scene. And so you can go on the OkiePatriot76Radio.com and check out those links. But I want to get right into this Jake Flint situation. If you don't know, I did a political channel before and with a podcast, and so I was always covering news, and so this is nothing new to me. But I kind of want to, like, anytime, and I kind of missed the boat on like the Luke Bryan DeSantis thing. I still think that was kind of taken out of context, but whatever, that's old news by now. But anytime like a news thing happens with a country artist that kind of turns political, I kind of want to talk about it because I feel like, I don't know, I kind of have an opinion on it, and it makes for a good podcast. But I first off want to say my prayers are with his wife, his new wife, and his family. Such a horrible situation. If you don't know, this past weekend he got married. Saturday, Sunday, or I don't even think Sunday. I think he died in his sleep Saturday night. I mean, I guess it would be Sunday morning. But I heard the news Monday, and then I knew this story would take like a Luke Bell. If you don't remember Luke Bell, he passed away a few months ago. He died suddenly. And there's this whole documentary out there that it's like about the vaccine, about the Vox. I probably shouldn't say vaccine because YouTube is going to flag this video. But there's this whole thing, this whole documentary on Twitter, I think maybe, or it's on Rumble somewhere. I kind of want to watch it actually, but it's about the magic potion. I call it the magic potion. If you listen to the podcast, my other podcasts, you know how I feel about the Vox. I don't like it. I never got it. I don't trust it. Yada yada yada. But if you got it, that's fine. God bless you, right? But there's this whole documentary out there at the same time that Jake passed away about people dying suddenly from the Vox. And as soon as he passed away, like on Monday morning, I saw people, even when it was like a little local story, like I think I don't know where I first heard about it. I think maybe Whiskey Riff posted it, Saving Country Music posted it. I saw it on Facebook, I think. One of the Facebook articles that I'm like subscribed to, I follow all like the big country side, like Whiskey Riff, Saving Country Music, all of those. Maybe Instagram I saw, I don't know, I can't remember. But as soon as I saw it, I started researching, because I'm not familiar with Jake. But I did come across his music a few months ago, and I saved it on Spotify, but I never listened to it. Because I have a thing about Oklahoma artists. I'm really passionate about putting Oklahoma artists, giving them a platform. But I do it in a way of like new music. Like if they put out a new single, I'm going to post it or talk about it. But I mean, I cover everybody. I mean, there's people all over the world in this channel, and I would talk about it later on in the podcast. But I really have a thing about Oklahoma artists. I really want to give them a platform, and I really, but it's a tragedy whenever somebody passes away. But it's also even more tragedy whenever they've worked their whole life to like get recognition, or they worked their ass off to make a name for themselves, and then it never, I mean, they were locally known, but even his like Spotify and YouTube numbers, it wasn't a lot, right? But after he died, he exploded, right? I mean, he probably went from like 400, maybe 300 subscribers on YouTube to like over 1,000, like maybe 2,000 by now. Same with Spotify. It went from like 200 to like 1,000. And that's horrible. It's tragedy. But I mean, it's just a bad deal. It's a bad deal all around. But there was this narrative, like this died suddenly narrative I want to talk about, where people are dying suddenly from the Vox. And this guy on Facebook pulled up an old Facebook post that Jake had, where he was so ready for the vaccine. And then I saw, I went through his Facebook page Monday, and I wanted to learn about the guy because I wasn't really familiar. And I learned that he was a really good guy. He seemed like from what people said about him, he was just a really good guy. he took, let me just say this, he took a break from music, I don't know when exactly, to help his dad who had ALS, to take care of him. And he paused his career to do that. And there was a video on YouTube from Lance West. I think he's like from News Channel 4 here in Oklahoma, maybe News 5. But Lance West did a story about him like a couple years ago, or in January of 2021, talking about his dad, and now he's on the road, like he's starting to, since COVID, he started to tour a little bit. And he was doing a show at Old Red in Tishomingo, and Blake Shelton, gave him some advice about his music. He basically said, your music is great, but it's never going to sell in Nashville, which is great news because that means his music is good. So, and it is, it's really good. But, I didn't find anything on his Facebook, about the vaccine. Hardly. He didn't really post about it. But he posted a couple memes that I took it as sarcasm, he wasn't really for the vaccine. But you have to remember, as an independent artist, you're kind of fucked a couple years ago. You were kind of fucked a couple years ago because the industry said you had to get this or you didn't really have a job. And so it was like your ticket. It was like a drug test. If you didn't get the drug test, you didn't get the job. And so I don't know. I don't know the guy. I'm not familiar with the guy, but I think he wasn't really excited about getting it, but he kind of had to get it. Because according to his Instagram, if you scroll back, he got the vaccine to do a show. He had to get it to do a show somewhere. From my understanding. I may be wrong. But I wish people would take a step back for a second and show some respect whenever things like this happen, instead of interjecting their political views. They're like, oh, it was probably the vac. I know people have this opinion about it. I get it. I know people who've gotten it and it didn't end well for them. They're still alive, but I don't know. Maybe it was the Vox. A lot of people are saying it was a heart attack. I don't know. It's not my job to speculate. I'm just here to give my opinion and say, hey, can we just slow down? Every article, everybody and their dog is talking about it right now. NBC News, CBS, The Blaze, all these right-leaning, Fox News, Daily Wire, all these right-leaning outlets are talking about it. And that was the same way with Luke Bell. And exactly like Luke Bell, I wasn't really familiar with his music. I went back and checked it and listened to it for the first time. So I just wanted to say that because I think that people need to show a little respect when somebody passes away like this. I mean, it's very weird. It's very odd. It's very strange. It's kind of a it's very weird. But who knows what happened? I don't know. I don't know what happened. It's a horrible tragedy. But go check out his music. I didn't post it on this channel because I didn't want to take away from, it plays into that respect thing. I wanted to be respectful to the family, and I knew if I posted it, it would bring views to my channel, and I just didn't feel. I'm not even going to put this in the title, by the way, because I just feel it just feels kind of scummy to do it that way, because I'm drawing views from somebody dying. And there's all these people on YouTube. If you type in Jake Flint, besides his music, there's all these bot videos that pop up. It's very weird. It's people they use the voice to text generator and they make a video. It's very weird. But check out his music, man. One of the best live albums that he did. One of the best live albums I've heard. It was actually recorded during COVID. And he did it at Mercury Studios, which I think is in Tulsa, I think. And there was no audience. And my problem with live albums is the audience, because I can't hear the music. It seems like the mixing of it is sometimes off. but there's no audience in this, and it's really, you get to hear him really perform, and it's really something special. And so I'd go buy the album, go stream it, go check it out. He has some great songs. He did a kind of a mashed together version of Folsom Prison Blues by Johnny Cash mixed with the rodeo song. And then he ended the song with the rest of the Folsom Prison Blues song. And I thought, man, that's fucking incredible. I've never heard anything like that. But then he also writes his own stuff. He did a song about, I thought was really funny. It was like a perspective of a fly called The Fly Song. I think it was on his first album. And then he also did a song for his buddy's daughter, who his buddy was like in like this court custody battle with child support. Like, go listen to it. It's a really powerful, heart-wrenching song if you know anybody out there who's dealt with that. So anyway, my prayers are with the family. Horrible situation. I think this is a huge loss in the Red Dirt community, and my heart goes out to everybody involved, the family and his wife, and just I like, I've never heard of the guy before Monday, and I just kind of felt kind of obligated to come on here and talk about it, because I see a lot of people, even like the language of like the Blaze article suddenly died, and then it sparks like this whole, whoa, it was definitely the vax. Like, how, I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I just get kind of pissed off about it. Especially, you know, I feel kind of a connection to, because he's from Oklahoma. I kind of get kind of defensive a little bit, because it's just like, I don't know the guy, but it's just like, I kind of feel like, imagine if you were in his family's shoes. Like, he was just trying to do the right thing at the time, and that's what everybody with the vax, like, people who took the vax, they were just trying to do the right thing. And people, like, I don't like the vaccine. I think it's a bad deal what happened, especially with like the mandates. But like, at the time, they were just trying to do the right thing for their family. Like, they were just trying to do, but I don't know. But all in all, he seemed like a good guy, and he was a funny guy. You can really tell it in his writing. He has he kind of has like a Roger Miller-esque, like in the live album. He has like a Roger Miller character about him, where he does these ad libs in between the lyrics that kind of remind me of Roger. But anyway, that's enough of that depressing news. But go check out his music if you haven't checked it out. Also this weekend, I checked out Tulsa King, because I wanted to see what kind of music was in there, because Tyler Sheridan is the guy behind it, and also I'm from Oklahoma, and it's an okay show. It really should be called Oklahoma City King, because I think a lot of it was filmed in Oklahoma City, but it's a good show. I mean, I kind of hate the fact that you have to buy. I don't really understand, because I haven't watched Yellowstone yet, even though there's like 5 episodes out. I still haven't watched Yellowstone all the way through. The last season of Yellowstone, man, like, I just didn't really get into it. It took them like 5 episodes to get out of that diner or something. It was just crazy. But I think what makes Yellowstone is the music. Like, it's the only plot, and I think Grady Smith made a video about it recently, about how, like, Yellowstone does more, and I don't know who tweeted this, but I think Whiskey Riff tweeted it, maybe. But Yellowstone does more for country music than country radio, and there's not shows out there. Like, if you go back in the history of like, and I think Marty Stewart is bringing his show back. Marty Stewart had like a variety show in like the early 2000s, and he put out a song recently, and that was to advertise his show. It's almost going to be like the Johnny Cash show, and I wasn't alive back then, obviously, but you know, I kind of want something like that back, you know, because back then they had like Hee Haw and like the Johnny Cash show and, all of these shows to showcase. Like, they had a whole Nashville network in Nashville, like the whole, and I think they still have that, but it's really not the same. And I think Yellowstone kind of gets close to that, to where people watch that. I mean, there's like, what, 15 million people who watch it every week? Crazy numbers. And then people who've never heard of, Shane Smith and the Saints, which I've known about him for years, and Whiskey Myers. People have found Whiskey Myers, or people have found Zach Bryan, which I don't know how you can ignore Zach Bryan. I feel he's all over fucking TikTok. Like, he's all over social media. He's everywhere. And I just don't understand how people just don't know about Zach Bryan. It's very hard to, like, you're obviously not paying attention to anything country music related if you don't know who Zach Bryan is. But there's people on Facebook, like, there's this page, We Hate Pop Country, on Facebook. I follow. It's a great page. But every time they post an article about Tyler Childers or Sturgill Simpson or Zach Bryan or Cody Jinks or Cody Johnson, somebody they posted an article about Cody Johnson, and this idiot in the comments, I usually don't read comments for this reason because it pisses me off, but this idiot in the comments said, I wish, like, these artists would stop making pop country. I'm like, you obviously have never heard of Cody Johnson. Like, listen to Cody Johnson and tell me with a straight face that's not real country, okay? Just because he's on mainstream radio, like, sometimes people fall through the cracks. Sometimes you get lucky and you get an artist like Cody, or you get an artist like Lainey Wilson who's on the radio, or an artist like that. But they're one of the few artists that are, like, actually traditionally country. They just got lucky. They fell through the cracks, and it's awesome, dude. So, but there's people on this page, We Get Pop Country. They're like, all the time, if they post an article about one of these artists, they're like, who's this? Like, who's Zach Bryan? Like, how do you not know who Zach Bryan is? I mean, the dude is bigger. I mean, he's more popular than Air right now. He's I mean, people. I mean, it's crazy, dude. It's really crazy how people don't know who. I mean, you're not paying attention, or you're just not on social media. Which, respect, I respect you for having a life, But it's just like, how do you not know? How do you not know who? Or like some of these artists, like Sturgill Simpson. They're like, who's Sturgill Simpson? Like, I would think, like, he's been around for, like, what, 10 years at this point? How do you not know about this guy? But no, like, Yellowstone is a huge platform for these artists, and I'm glad that it's a show. I just haven't really gotten into it, to be honest with you, in the past. I watched it during COVID. Like, somebody told me about it in 2020, early COVID days, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll check it out. So I bought the whole season, or first 3 seasons or whatever. I said, this is a fucking good show. All the music, I really got into it. And then, like, 2 years went by, and then, like, the next season came out, or a year and a half or whatever, and this wasn't the same. I don't know, wasn't the same, but the music was good. But the music is what makes Yellowstone. I think a lot of people watch Yellowstone just for the music. I know I do. And so, that's why I wanted to check out Tulsa King. It's a great show, and it has some country music in there. It started out with a Marcus King song, and I was like, this is good. And then it got to, like, a Luke Combs. I was like, okay, all right. it's not gonna have the same flavor as Yellowstone. Like, I mean, I would think maybe it would be a little bit better if they picked Oklahoma artists to showcase, but it is what it is. It's a great show. I like Sylvester Stallone. He's a great badass dude. And I think Chris Stapleton had a song in there. And Ashton Kraft had a song next week. Is going to have a song next week. Or maybe it was in this episode that I missed. I think it's going to be next Sunday. Which Eric Dillon wrote. He's one of my favorite writers right now. Eric Dillon's a fantastic writer. He's written some of my favorite songs. Like he wrote Riley Green and Luke Combs. He's from Kansas, but he's just his regular. And I think I talked about this in the last podcast, so I don't want to talk about it again. But he's just a fantastic writer. He's really good. And then I watched Father Stew, which is on Netflix, or you can watch it pretty much anywhere. And I think I saw it on Hulu, or you can buy it on YouTube, or rent it if that's still a thing from the store. Maybe, I don't know, but you can get it somewhere. Father Stew is a really good movie, by the way. It's a true story. Speaking of ALS, this guy had ALS, and he I might be ruining the movie for people who haven't seen it, but basically he becomes a pastor. He becomes a priest, like a Catholic priest, and he's like this outlaw dude. He's like a fighter. He's like a boxer guy, and he's from Montana, and he tried to do that for years, and then he moved out to LA to become an actor. It didn't work out too well, and he met somebody, and that somebody was a Catholic, and so he basically converted himself for her, and that's all I'll say about it. It's a really good movie. It's a true story. But the music is fucking fantastic. It has like classic country. It has like Sturgill Simpson, and Logan Ledger is in there. I don't know what happened there, but my OBS just crashed and stopped responding. But I'm glad that first half of that podcast is saved. Didn't want to go through the first part again because that was hard. But no, but Logan Ledger, man, he is one of my favorite artists of the past couple of years, and he's kind of like a throwback to like a different time. And when I first heard Logan Ledger, I thought this guy is like from the 60s, like this is like a re-release from the 60s. But he sounds exactly like Roy Orbison, or like a dreamy country type. I guess that's a phrase. I don't know. It's very a throwback, but there's a song on there called "Skip a Rope," and I think Charlie Crockett covered it. But "Skip a Rope" originally was done by Henson Cargill, which he's a guy from Oklahoma, and he was popular in the late '60s. So there's one song on there that he didn't write, but all of the other songs. Starlight was in that movie Father Stew, which is a fantastic film. Highly recommend if you like country music and a good story that'll make you cry. It's a really good, really touching movie. It's a really good show, so go check it out. Also another show that I've been watching that's on Amazon, and I need to pick back up on it. I haven't watched it in a couple weeks, or about a month probably. But Goliath on Amazon is a damn good show, man. It's fucking incredible, dude. It has Billy Bob Thornton in it. And there's some, it's based in California, and so in the second season, maybe the third season, they have if you don't know the plot, basically he's an attorney that fucks up a case, right? And he gets he gets back on his feet whenever he does a case and he wins big. Right, and so that kind of starts off the first season, and in the second season he takes these cases and he tries to fight against like a David and Goliath. That's exactly where the name came from. He's like the little underdog, and he's trying to fight the big monster, right? And so in the second season, it's based, or maybe this third season, it's like Dennis Quaid plays a farmer. And it's like based in like the Bakersfield area, and so they play a lot of like Merle Haggard and Buck Owens, and it's a really good show. But they don't play like a lot of country music, but they've played like some country, like a couple of Merle songs, but yeah, man, that's what I'm getting into. Shows like that are really good. And I'm not a TV guy. I'm not a show guy. I either listen to podcasts or listen to music. I've been going through a lot of music, and seems like every day I'm finding something new, either on YouTube and like I know that there's other people out there that do this, like Whiskey Riff and Country Pickens and Country Central and all these other guys, and they're great, but they tend to lean towards like the poppier side of things. And I kind of want to, showcase the more traditional country artists out there. But then I also want to showcase something different, like that Common Tribe guy that I posted the other day. Fucking incredible, dude. He's kind of like I grew up on like people like Everlast and Rehab, like those guys, like, and kind of reminds me of that. Or more recently, there's another guy, Don Lewis. He's from Texas, and the more country song he did was Neon You, but his other stuff is more like Common Tribe, and it's really good. So I try to like mix up a little bit, I don't want every song that I post to sound the same, and I want to showcase artists from all over the world. Like there's a couple of guys from Australia that I posted recently, like maybe a few weeks ago. Bubba Bishop. He's like a guy from, I don't know exactly where he's from, but he's like he has a concrete business and he does music on the side. And he's like a hardcore motherfucker. Like literally, he's like all tattooed up. He's a badass dude. He's fucking. He can probably hurt you like in a fight pretty good. But he's a solid dude for sure. But when it comes to country and I thought he was from the South, or I thought he was from, but I started listening to, and I can kind of hear. I thought he was from Ireland though, because I heard like the Irish bleed through the song, but he's from Australia, but he's probably has that Irish descent or whatever. But then also there's this guy named Morgan Tucker. He's from Australia, and he's fucking incredible, dude. I found him on YouTube. Like what I do, like I have like probably 10 different ways of finding artists, either through all of these playlists that come out, like Whiskey Riff, Country Central, all these playlists. I kind of skim through those, like filter through those, and pull out my favorites, and then I'm on social media. Or like an artist sends me something to post that comes out. Or I go on TikTok, which is like another whole. I haven't been on TikTok in a while, but there's some great people on there. Or YouTube. I've been finding a lot of people on YouTube, and that's why I found Morgan Tucker. He's fucking unreal. He's fucking incredible. I thought he was from the South. I thought he was from like Alabama or somewhere. Just or Mississippi or Georgia or somewhere. But I had to look him up. And some of these artists don't have social media or don't have a website. There's not a lot of information on them, and so it's kind of hard to. But I dug, and I found his personal Facebook, and he's from Australia somewhere. So, fucking incredible. Then, like, I've been getting into like The Voice. The Voice. I can't remember his name. Lane Pittman, I think. He has like a mullet. He's on The Voice, or earlier this year he was on The Voice on Keith Urban's team in Australia. And Kaylee Bell, I posted Kaylee Bell. I thought she was from here, but I got a thing when I posted the song. It was copyright claimed from in New Zealand. So she's from New Zealand, but she works in Australia, maybe, or she's in Australia, but she came to Nashville to record that song that I posted, Friday Night Lights or something like that. But she's good. But I love finding artists from all over the world. Like, even, like, I don't know. When I think of Australia, I don't think of like country, but there's a huge country music scene down there. Like one of the top countries, top 5 countries is Australia for this channel. It's crazy. I think Emily Ninny, that's her name. She's from the same place as Logan Ledger, which is San Francisco or Southern California, or the Bay Area. I think that's where she's from. But she is in Australia right now doing a tour with Joshua Headley. And I think I posted one of his songs, and I feel kind of stupid now. I think I posted Rivers in the Rain, thinking that it's his song. And I need to do a better job at looking at who writes songs. And I've been doing this because I think it's fascinating. Because sometimes artists will sneak in like a cover of a classic song, and I think, damn, this is fucking good, man. This is awesome. I look at it and it's like, oh, Roger Miller wrote that song. It's just like, okay, all right. Rivers in the Rain is by Roger Miller, and same with Emily Ninny. She did an ABBA song. ABBA, I think, yeah. Old. I never got into ABBA. I fucking love classic rock, and I've been getting into older country. I've been getting into you know, I had to go back to the topic of artists passing away, but whenever Jerry Lee Lewis and Loretta Lynn died, I went back and checked out some of their stuff, and I never really listened to it. I didn't realize Jerry Lee Lewis had so much good country stuff that he did in the late 60s and early 70s. And I've been going back and listening to, you'll hear tomorrow. So tomorrow is Thursday. So I want to do like Throwback Thursday. And I'm digging into older artists like Roger Miller, Conway Twitty, and finding some bangers to post on Thursdays. And so Conway Twitty. So I don't think I've talked about this. Maybe I did. I can't remember if I talked about it, but I think I posted about it. I can't remember exactly. But I'll talk about it again because I think it's fucking interesting. I did not realize that Conway Twitty lived in Oklahoma City for like 15 years. And he moved here, and that's where he transitioned from rockabilly. So if you go back, I'm going to post a song tomorrow. It's like his rockabilly song that he wrote. It sounds exactly like Elvis. It's very Elvis. And I'm glad that he transitioned to that, but if you go back and listen to some of these albums, like they're like the one thing I have, like the one big complaint I have about like Nashville today is like every song they put out sounds the fucking same. Like it sounds exactly, it's all manufactured, it's all put together. Like I had this analogy, and I'm so glad I remembered it because I think it's a really good analogy. Right, so Nashville is like fast food. Like the for the most part, there's some anomalies, but for the most part, Nashville is like fast food country for people who don't really want to, wait, or they don't really want to think about it. They just want something quick and easy and have a good time and get drunk and whatever, right? So that's why you go see like Luke Bryan, and I love Luke Bryan. I think he's a good guy, but I think he gets a lot of bad rap. But from a music standpoint, I'm not really a fan. So his last couple songs are fine, but I'm just not really into Luke Bryan as much as everybody else. But people go to Luke Bryan, or they go to Jason Aldean, which I respect him for what he did this year, but I'm not really a fan. I'm really not a fan of his music, actually. But people go to the fast, because it's easy. It's not controversial. It's not like everybody gotta get along. It's like it's easy listening, and it's literally like just put together in a lab. Like it feels like it's like a manufactured. It's like a made in China thing, right? It's a cheap little thing, and not to discredit the artists. I know these artists work hard and stuff. They want to be on but some of these artists just make shitty music. I'm not a fan. It's bad, really bad. But that's what the radio is for. But if people want like a home cooked meal, or like, it's gonna take a while. Like it's not like some songs are not for radio, because it's not a fast food version of a song. Some of these songs are like controversial, or like, especially if you go back in like the David Allan Coe era of things. It's kind of it's not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But there's certain artists that, like, that's what I love. I love people who stand up for the truth, or sing songs that are not for the radio. And that's what my platform is here for. Like my goal is to build a platform for those people who are not on the radio, and never will be on the radio, and they feel like they have to change. There's certain artists out there that are traditionally country, but they had to play the game and play ball and do the dance and all that kind of stuff to be on the radio, and I hate that. And I want to put out artists that are real and authentic, and there's a lot of artists out there like that. And I also want to give a platform to artists that are too controversial. You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain artists that are like too political, or obviously Aaron Lewis is always going to have a spot on the radio because of that massive hit, right? Or Jason Aldean is going to have a spot at radio because he's Jason Aldean. He's at a point in his career where he's safe, right? But I want to give a platform. Like there's a guy named Aaron Tanner, and he had a song, "Ain't Nothing Wrong with Being Right," and people, for some reason, hated that song. I don't know. I don't know. He was like, "Oh, it's too, like what did the guy said?" He was like, "Oh, this seems like he's virtue signaling to conservatives or whatever." Like, no, it's a fucking good song. Like, the stuff he says, like, I agree with. Like, I like what he says. So I don't know. And if you follow him on Instagram, like, he's always like, he's a patriotic dude. So I want to give a platform to people like that, or like Buddy Brown, or people who make these songs that talk about controversial topics, or like, even like if it's like very vague controversy, like where they're trying to like being kind of cryptic with it, like "Stop the World" with Carson Jeffrey. It's a damn good song, a really good song. That whole album is really good. I don't know. I mean, he's kind of saying it in kind of under like a roundabout way, what we've all been thinking the past 2 years. Or there's a guy named Garrett Brown, and I recently found out through Jake Flint. I was looking at his Facebook, and there's another Garrett Brown in Tulsa. So there's a guy in Bartlesville named Garrett Brown Band, and I posted a song the other day, and it's really fucking good. I just found it, and I was like, this is fantastic. This is great music. This is incredible, dude. So there's a guy in Tulsa, and then there's another guy that I posted a long time ago, the Chakotah Kid, and he's from Paris, Texas, or he's from a ghost town called Chakotah, Texas, which is near Paris. I really got into him a month ago when that came out, or whenever it came out, because it was just so. It's like a Charles Wesley Godwin type vibe, and it's so fucking good, dude. He was like, one of the songs was like a perspective of like he was like having a conversation with like a bird, and he was like, "Hey bird, you don't want to be me. Like all these problems in the world, like you don't want to be a human." And he was talking about all this shit that people have gone through, and one of the lines was like, "I don't want to lose my rights to a girl with blue hair who doesn't know what the flag means." I was like, dude, what a fucking line, dude. What a line. But he's a really good artist, and he's not. I don't think I haven't seen anybody talking about him. But that whole EP album deal he put out, and I accidentally found him on Instagram. I just opened up Instagram. It was like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Opened up Instagram. First thing I saw was Philip Nance, which is his buddy who lives in Oklahoma. They put out their albums on the same day, and then I clicked on his page and I saw Garrett Brown. I checked out both of their albums. Philip Nance is like more rock infused, more of that Oklahoma Red Dirt, like something like a Reed Southall band or something like that. There's a lot of those artists that I've been getting into. Like there's an artist, what's her name? I fucking totally forgot about it. Oh, I wanted to talk about the Oklahoma playlist because there's so many great artists out, like Cade Roth and the Black Sheep is fucking incredible. Is really good. But what other artist was kind of like a rock infused? Let's see here. I guess the other Garrett Brown. is more like a rocker guy. But I kind of been getting into that, like that. You know, Cody West put out his album recently, and it's kind of like he's kind of like Co Wetzel. I kind of like have to be in a certain mood to listen to it, because it's not, when I think of Texas country, I don't think of like Cody West or Co Wetzel, but they're good. They're really good, because I grew up on that kind of stuff. Like, it's really incredible. It's almost like an early 2000s like punk rock type thing, and it's good. It's good, but one of the things I've been doing is re-listening to albums that came out last year, and I really like, speaking of Reed Southall, I've been really getting into Reed Southall, their album For the Birds, and for the longest time I never got into that album, because my idea of Reed Southall, like when I first heard it, was like the first EP that they did, like the acoustic with like the, what was the name of it? Wilder Than the Rest, I think that was the name of it. And then they changed like to a more rock, and it took me a while to get into it, but I really got into it. There's so many great songs on that album. It's such a damn good album. Oh, I know the guy I was thinking about, Dax Perrier. He's fucking incredible, dude. He's really good, dude. Dax Perrier is one of my favorite artists. He's the guy I was thinking of earlier. This is not a scripted podcast. I don't have notes or anything. It's kind of like a freestyle podcast, which is how it's supposed to be. But Dax Perrier, dude, if you haven't checked out his album, holy fucking shit. It is fucking good, dude. It's so fucking good. He got the recognition, or he got recognized by Toby Keith, and Toby Keith like put one of his songs like at his shows or something. I read somewhere, but I thought that was pretty cool. But go check out this playlist, Best of Oklahoma Artists 2022. Like I said, my goal is to showcase Oklahoma artists that I fucking love and you may have never heard of. Some of them are signed to a label in Nashville. Some of them are doing things independently. Some of them are huge, like a Zach Bryan, of course. But then some of them, like a lot of them have different styles. Like there's blues, there's Americana, there's folk, there's more rock stuff. There's more, one of my favorite artists that nobody ever really talks about is Tennessee Jet. And for the longest time, I didn't really know anything about him, because he's kind of like a Jack White kind of guy. Like, he looks exactly like Jack White. He's like, he doesn't really do social media, but then I read that Jack White is getting off of Twitter, and I thought, isn't he like I saw a video a long time ago of Jack White. He doesn't really fuck with social media or the internet, or he moved out in the country and he raises his kids like old school or something. I don't know. That was a long time ago. But I just thought it was funny that Jack White got off of Twitter. I was like, he wasn't even on Twitter in the first place. But Tennessee Jet, he's here in Oklahoma. He's from here, and he doesn't really fuck with Nashville. He's kind of does his own thing, and I really respect that. And he doesn't really want to associate himself with like the red dirt country world either. He kind of is like his own thing. But here recently, a few weeks ago, I checked out a podcast from him that I listened to 3 hours of podcasts from him. Like, I can't remember the name of the podcast. There was a two-parter of a pod. Just go to Spotify and type in Tennessee Jet and then put podcast, and you can find them. One of it is like the Namaste podcast or something like that, and there's two episodes of that. And then there's another podcast with an actor. He's like a soap opera actor. He's like in like The Young and the Restless or some shit like that. And he loves country music. He's sponsored by like the Lane Frost company or whatever it is. The bull rider from Hugo, and he lives in Hugo, Tennessee Jet. Like his album cover is of a bar in Hugo. I thought that was pretty cool. But his music is fucking unreal. Is really incredible. And like I said, he's not really on social media. He's not really, he doesn't really want to be in the spotlight, doesn't really want to be famous. He just wants to create music. He doesn't really give a fuck about awards or anything like that. He's just doing his own thing, and that's... Tennessee Jetta is one of the most overlooked Oklahoma artists, in my opinion. He's really good. Because his first couple albums, he did it himself. Like, all the instrumentation, he produced it himself. And then his last album, or his album that he did in 2020 or maybe 2019, what was it called? The Country. He had Dwight Yoakam. Oh, that was another thing about that show. I totally fucking forgot about. I'm so pissed. Dwight Yoakam was in that Goliath show for the first season. I knew there was something else country about it. But no, in 2020, he put out the Country album, and Dwight Yoakam, I think Dwight Yoakam's band played on that album. It's really fucking good. But then in 2021, he did a Pandemic album, and it was all, like, he didn't use a computer to record. It was all analog, it was all old school. And it's the writing of it. And I didn't realize that he wrote... Speaking of Whiskey Myers, he wrote Bury My Bones for Whiskey Myers. I did not realize that until I listened to this podcast. And he did an acoustic version of Bury My Bones. Because I didn't know his name, because he goes by Tennessee Jet. But on Bury My Bones, on the album credit, or the song credit, it's like TJ McFarlane or something like that. And you're supposed to put your legal name on there, but people never really do. But whenever you upload a song to Spotify, you're supposed to put your legal name. But on all of his songs that he put out, his own, it's his Tennessee Jet. And so he's very, like, a very private person, though. But yeah, but he wrote that song for Whiskey Myers, and he wrote several songs with Cody Jinks. That's really good as well. So anyway, man, I had so much stuff to talk about, but I think it's been about an hour or so, and I think I'll end the show here. But I appreciate everybody out there for checking out the podcast. This podcast is also, I should have said that at the beginning, but this is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon. So if you want to listen over there, you can. I appreciate it, man. Hope everybody has a good day and a good weekend, all that kind of stuff. And I want to do one of these every couple of weeks. I want to talk about... I didn't really get into the new stuff I want to talk about, but maybe I'll do another one whenever I can. Maybe this weekend or something. I'll pop in and do another one. But I wanted to talk about that Jake Flint thing, because I thought it's a huge... It was really on my mind. I wanted to get it out there. And so... Anyway, guys, God bless. And stay tuned for more music. And check out the playlist and follow them for... there's a Christmas one, like I said. There's an Oklahoma artist one. There is a... I haven't put it up yet, but there's a Shazam playlist that's full of, like, old country stuff. And speaking of old country, stay tuned for tomorrow for Throwback Thursday. Actually, midnight, I'm going to schedule out some new stuff to put up at midnight. And let me know, like, what's a good time to post. Because what the problem I'm having is... the songs I'm posting is not getting out to people, and I think I'm either posting too much, or like YouTube is like shadow banning it or something. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. So I'm trying like different times. Like I'm trying to post like in the morning, but like YouTube like has a thing you can go in and you can look at like when's a good time to post, but I don't really trust that. I never really trusted social media. For that reason. I'm always used to being censored, and I guess this channel is being shadow banned or something. I don't know what the deal is, but it seems like there's a lag. Like people either don't see the post or it's hidden on my channel for some reason. I don't know what the deal is. But the thing, if you want to see all the posts, and this doesn't work half the time, but it works. You know, go to my channel and then go to videos, and you can see all the videos I posted. But sometimes they hide videos. So, I don't know. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Have a great day. God bless. And keep it country, man. Appreciate it.